On a quiet night on East 14th Street, more than 200 mourners packed into CP Bannon Mortuary in East Oakland. They were there for Derek Turner and Tracy Bolton, two Oakland men found shot execution style behind a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Carson, California, after what police described as a cocaine deal gone wrong. Inside the mortuary, grief hung heavy, but in the streets, grief don't stop a war. Outside, 3 men wearing masks and gloves pulled up to the mortuary, hopping out with guns and a rifle. As one man pointed the rifle, the crowd scattered, ducking behind anything that looked thick enough to stop a bullet. When the rifle jammed, for one split second, fate did what law enforcement couldn't. It stopped another mass shooting in Oakland in a year already marred by violence. The men jumped back in the car and sped off, soon being spotted by Officer Kevin Sullivan on the 7100 block of Favor Street, where the gunman fled. Anthony "Ant" Flowers, already facing trial for a huge cocaine case, was found hiding in a nearby backyard after a police dog tracked him down. That night told you everything about Oakland after Felix Mitchell, the face of Oakland's heroin era of the late 70s and early 80s, the man police called the godfather of Oakland's drug trade, and who many in the neighborhoods of Oakland saw as a provider, a Robin Hood for the hood. But when Felix fell, the heroin kingdom he built didn't disappear. It shattered, and every broken piece became somebody else's crown. Instead of peace, Oakland got more corners, more crews, more guns, and a new generation of men who watched and heard of how Felix turned poverty into power.
Oakland homicide detectives say the new breed of crack dealer is younger and often armed with an automatic weapon.
By the late 80s and early 90s, young men like Darryl Lil D Reed, Timothy Black Bluitt, Anthony Flowers, and Emanuel Lacy were fighting over those same corners left behind by Felix's crew. But by then, the dope game turned to cocaine, which soon gave way to crack. See, in the new era, the rules changed. Crack spread through working class neighborhoods like a match in dry grass.
Few people here will openly talk about why they're moving out, leaving the place they've called home for decades. But many say they're moving out because drug dealers and fighting drug gangs have moved in.
Kids didn't need out-of-state connects or old-school discipline. A small crew could get product, cook it, break it down, and turn a few ounces into an entire corner economy. One of the first young men to rise in this new economy was Darryl Lil D Reed. Reed's rise was fast, growing to a multimillionaire in about 3 years.
But you know the same thing with Lil D. You know Lil D from the Bay Area. I mean, this little dude was like, I said, how much money you got, man? Right. You 17 years old and you got $1 million.
And by 1988, federal authorities were already looking at him as one of the biggest crack figures in Oakland. He was barely into adulthood, but the money around him was grown man money. He carried himself like a young king. Expensive cars, jewelry, and for his 20th birthday, it's alleged he spent around $30,000 on a party for thousands of guests at Golden Gate Fields. Then came the raid. In December 1988, police hit an apartment near Adams Point before dawn. Inside, they found 20-year-old Darryl Reed allegedly in the middle of cooking almost 30 pounds of rock cocaine, according to the police. They also seized powdered cocaine, cash, handguns, and records that suggested hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales across the East Bay. Police called it the biggest crack cocaine seizure in California at the time.
A 20-year-old man accused of being Oakland's crack cocaine kingpin appeared in court today. He was arrested last week in what police call the biggest crack bust in city history. And police say gang warfare may break out in Oakland to fill the power vacuum because of Reed's arrest.
Just like with Felix, the fall of Reed opened a lane, and the man who moved into that lane was Timothy Black Bluitt. As one of 15 children, he grew up in the same East Oakland ecosystem that had produced Mitchell, with his brother Norbert Bluitt running with Felix in the '69 mob. After Reed was arrested, Bluitt helped command what remained of Reed's organization, rebuilding it into what many said to be a more violent crew. From prison, Reed allegedly helped Bluitt connect with a Los Angeles cocaine source who was willing to supply massive wholesale loads. And by 1989, Bluitt's biggest problem wasn't law enforcement. It was a short 5'5" East Oakland dealer named Anthony "Ant" Flowers. Flowers was only in his early 20s, but police said he controlled drug corners around 100th Avenue, East 14th Street, and the Old Dirt Road area, an unpaved section of 99th Avenue. A hustler with a crew not originally known for violence, Flowers had something that made him more dangerous to Bluitt. He had territory and cheaper cocaine. While Bluitt was selling an ounce of coke for around a G, Flowers was selling his at 700. And then came the barbecue at the Mom Park when tensions finally snapped. Flowers and a member of the Bluitt gang named Eric Squeeze Smith got into a fight, with Squeeze getting the best of Flowers.
Lower level money guys at a dice game at a park one day, and it was some upper level money guys in the same dice game. And the fight broke out. The cat who didn't have the most money kind of quick, bang, 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 and kind of won the fight a little bit. And eventually, somebody got killed. When somebody got killed, it jumped off a war.
More than a fight, Flowers left the picnic with bruised pride and a public humiliation. Get back was a must, and what followed became one of the most violent chapters in Oakland's history. A 3-year feud that would stretch from Oakland's flatlands to East Bay suburbs and leaving more than 16 people dead. Flowers didn't go to war alone. He linked up with a man who already had his own beef with Bluitt, Emanuel Lacy. Lacy was a former star athlete at Fremont High School who later went on to wrestle at San Francisco State before leaving school. But somewhere between the gym mats and the East Oakland corners, Lacy entered the cocaine business. By the mid-1980s, according to police, Lacy's organization had grown into a major cocaine operation. One informant said he started around 1984 as a door monitor at the 91st Street Avenue trap house of Lacy's. Over time, he gained trust moving up to selling coke from the house, making deliveries, and watching the amounts grow from tiny street sales to multi-kilo deals, sometimes dozens at a time. Lacy used code words like tequila and brandy for different drugs, stashed dope in abandoned cars, and held meetings at fast food restaurants. The money coming in was enough for Lacy to buy a $300,000 home near the San Ramon Country Club. He was a big-time dealer who Bluitt had known well. See, Lacy's beef with Bluitt didn't start with Flowers. It started back in 1988 when Bluitt and Lacy's people were fighting over the right to sell in Acorn housing projects in West Oakland. Lacy, Ronald Snoopy Pennywell, and Gordon Big Hen Henderson used Uzis to ambush Bluitt's lieutenant, Kenny Winters, and Winters' girlfriend, Beverly Bell. Winters survived, but Bell died in a hail of bullets. Lacy faced a potential death penalty, but the case collapsed when a key witness was murdered. So when Flowers broke away from Bluitt, and when Bluitt decided Flowers had become the enemy, Lacy and Flowers had a shared problem: Timothy Bluitt. From 1989 to 1991, East Oakland resembled a war zone. Bluitt's and Flowers' crews stalked each other through neighborhood streets, often with Lacy's gunmen backing Flowers. The violence came in waves: drive-bys, ambushes, police chases, and every shooting demanded a response. Even if you weren't in the game, you became part of it. This became clear on May 7, 1990, when Terry Cooper, who was tied to Bluitt's gang, entered a grocery store on Seminary Ave while being chased by armed men. Inside were people shopping and workers going about their normal routine when all hell broke loose. Gunmen opened fire with automatic weapons as children buying snacks dove behind counters and workers ducked for cover. In the aftermath, Terry Cooper was killed while another man was wounded. This was supposed retaliation for a member of Flowers' gang, Stan Dwight Anderson, who was killed a few days earlier on May 4th near 80th and Rosedale. Police weren't spared from the violence either. On the same day, Oakland police officer Bruce White and Barbara Laura were shot at with an automatic rifle near Interstate 580 and Park Boulevard. According to police, 3 carloads of Bluitt gunmen were out looking for Flowers when police spotted them. Bluitt's men fled, driving onto the freeway while firing and pursuing officers. A month later, gunmen connected to Flowers allegedly opened fire on Mark Hillbilly Norman and Cedric Sewell, both Bluitt gang members. A responding Union City officer, Michael DiLorenzo, was shot at with an Uzi as the shooters tried to escape. The feud continued into the summer as the names changed from headline to headline, but the pattern stayed the same. Somebody got shot, somebody survived, somebody retaliated. But on July 4th, fireworks had nothing on the chaos that was about to ensue. At the Lockwood Garden Housing Project, Bluitt's men allegedly ambushed Flowers' associates, Larry Galbert and cousin Ronald Pickett, outside the market around 8 a.m. Gunmen chased Galbert and Pickett on foot and in a van through a nearby schoolyard, shooting both of them. A patrol car spotted the van and began chasing it down East 14th Street. While in pursuit, A car pulled in front of the cop car, causing it to broadside the vehicle, killing the driver, Patricia Welch. Now this wasn't just dope boys dying anymore. It was anyone who happened to be in the wrong place when the violence came through. Then the following month came the shooting at CP Bannon Mortuary, and on Thanksgiving Day of 1991, 2 carloads of gunmen raced along 71st Avenue, exchanging gunfire through residential streets. By now, the feud had become almost cinematic in its craziness, making one thing clear to the residents of Oakland: there was no such thing as sacred ground anymore. By now, the FBI was listening with wiretaps, capturing Bluitt talking about enemies, guns, and retaliation. In December of 1991, federal agents finally hit Bluitt's organization, indicting Bluitt and 15 associates on drug conspiracy charges. Bluitt received a 30-year federal prison sentence in January 1994, allowing the Flowers and Lacy network to grow even more powerful, controlling around 70% of Oakland's cocaine market. The investigation into Flowers and Lacy's network had taken more than 2 years, and in September 1994, a massive sweep arrested dozens connected to the drug network, including Flowers. Emanuel Lacy managed to elude authorities until September 1995. DEA agents arrested him outside Coors Field in Denver, where he was allegedly scalping tickets before a Giants-Rockies baseball game. By the late 90s, the era of the big Oakland drug lord was ending, but it only made way for younger crews that were smaller, less centralized, and harder to control.